Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Beyond the Unknown. I'm your host, Jolie,
And I'm Quinn.
and today we are continuing on the all Canadian ghost tour and taking you to beautiful Niagara Falls, the honeymoon capital of the world. Who knew? Join us as we uncover the spooky side of one of the world's most iconic landmarks while diving deep into some tragic love stories, just in time for Valentine's Day.
Okay, so do you guys remember our Ghosts of Banff Springs? Oh my God, I can't talk. This is going to be good. Okay, so do you guys remember our Ghost of Banff Springs Hotel episode? If not, seriously, give it a listen. It's a spine chiller. But since you all love that one, I thought, why not keep this ghostly Canadian road trip rolling? It's been super fun exploring some seriously stunning sites that also have a dark side. So today we're talking about the Niagara Falls region. This is in southern central Canada. Niagara Falls, honestly, where to start? This place is iconic, and I'm sure you're already picturing the colossal bowl of cascading water split between the US and Canadian border. We're pretty biased, so the Canadian side is obviously way cooler. It actually steals the show. Sorry, American friends. Honestly, I remember going there as a kid and just staring at the falls from this top level view and just being mesmerized at the smooth flowing water just before it glided over the rocks and tumbled into the turbulent, misty bowl of water and rocks below. I just stared at it. It was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
I've never been.
What?
I've never been.
Oh, okay, well, let's go because it's actually cool. The Canadian side is cool. I'm pretty sure we even went on the famous, like that Made of the Mist boat ride. I
Mhm.
sometimes think I invented that in my head, but I'm pretty sure we did actually go because I remember putting on the blue trash bag looking rain jackets and
And
it
then
being
you
like
attended
super loud.
Jim and Pam's wedding.
I was literally just gonna say that. Like, does anyone remember The Office?
Oh,
Because Pam and Jim, that is their wedding, like American side, obviously, but that's where they
yeah.
actually get married. But I do think that that shows a pretty good example, though, of how the American side just isn't quite as magical. Even though Jim and Pam are super magical, it's just like the scenery just wasn't as captivating. Like, I actually didn't even clue in that that was Niagara Falls until I was like, oh my God, right. They get married on the boat. It's
Yeah.
not the Maid of the Mist though. It's like the American one. Okay. Okay. So I will stop hammering it home how much nicer Canada is. But do you remember reading about the daredevil of Niagara Falls?
I thought that was like, well, I don't know if this was Houdini or another guy who like went in a barrel and went down.
Oh yeah, there was that too. Okay, I didn't even look that up, but I think I know what you're talking about. But this guy apparently walked on a tightrope across it, and there's like a kid's book about it that we actually had it. I don't know if you remember it. It was like the most
No, I don't
random
remember.
book. It wasn't like a real winner of a book. It was just I was obsessed with it because tightropes. But I should have looked into it a bit more, but I'm pretty sure it is a true story. But the falls is pretty iconic in a ton of other ways. Like some years in November, they actually light up the falls with purple lights to raise awareness for pancreatic cancer. Have you ever seen those photos?
No, I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
well, we'll throw that up in our social media. But pancreatic cancer is a cause near and dear to our hearts. So why don't you check that out later, Joe?
Yeah.
So now this iconic and historic Now, this iconic and historic site naturally is the scene for many tales, folklore, and yes, you guessed it, paranormal activity. Woo! So now that we've checked out the falls, we need to find a nice little B&B to stay the night. So hop in our $16 million a day Canadian rental car and come with us to Brockemore Manor Bed and Breakfast. Yes, rental cars in Canada suck. Actually, all travel in Canada is very unnecessarily expensive, just FYI. So Brockemore Manor was built in 1809 and was the luxurious home of Captain John Powell. John's sister Sophia resided in the manor as well and was frequently in the company of many of her brother's fellow armymen. One such man was General Isaac Brock. It is said that Sophia and Brock fell in love. Unfortunately, John and Sophia's father did not approve of the union. The young lovers didn't care and decided to get engaged secretly. Despite the lengths they went through to stay together, unfortunately, they would be torn apart when Brock was killed in the Battle of the Queenston Heights. Devastated, it is said that Sophia remained in the manor, never quite getting over the loss of her great love. To this day, it is said that you can find Sophia walking the halls at night sobbing. She's known as the pale crying lady.
Wow, me too.
Okay, so dramatic. Okay, well, that's
I'm
great.
kidding.
So, since we clearly aren't going to get any sleep at Brockmore Manor, hop back in our car and we're heading to the Old Angel Inn.
Ooh.
Originally known as the Harmonious Coach House, this haunted dwelling is one of Ontario's oldest pubs. It was thought to have originally been built in 19 sorry. It was thought to have
19.
originally been built.
Sorry.
This is going to be really short. I'm realizing, like, just cut in at any time. This is
Okay.
my I will add more because I think I fucked this up royally.
That's okay.
So, it was thought to have originally been built in 1789 on land given to the deputy surveyor general. After fires during the War of 1812, the inn had to be rebuilt. It was given the name Angel Inn. And apparently, this was an ode to the man who rebuilt it, his wife. I'm not sure. I couldn't find too much more about that. It has
Oh, she
changed
was an
names.
angel.
She was the sweet, sweet angel. Apparently, it changed names though a few times back and forth, but eventually, sometime in the late 1800s, it was brought back to the name the Angel Inn, which is what it is known as today.
Would you stay at a place that's called the Angel Inn? To me, it instantly sounds like you pay by the hour.
Like the Mermaid Motel in the
Yeah.
OC, which I'm currently rewatching. Yes. Yeah, I probably wouldn't, but after you hear what I'm about to say, I have a strong feeling you're gonna wanna go to Niagara Falls because you've never been, and
Yeah.
like both of us go to the Angel Inn because I
Okay.
like totally want to do it personally. So the Angel Inn's quite iconic. Like you can still see the details from the original structure, such as the exposed beams and the super thick wood plank floors that were definitely unique to that time because you're sure as heck not going to get floors like that nowadays. It still functions as an inn now. It isn't just a namesake, and there's 5 rooms and 2 cottages on the property for rent. The room known as the General's Quarters is apparently the most haunted. Over the years, the guest list included some names you might recognize. I'll be honest, I didn't. John Graves. I know nothing about history, so this was all news to me.
No, we know a lot about history. Canadian history, not so much. Who
What
cares about
history?
that?
That's true. I
All,
wouldn't say
all
I
the things
know.
you're talking about, the fires, the this, I'm like, what country is that? And I remember it's Ontario. Why don't I know about this?
Ontario is its own country. It's unterrible,
Yeah.
so that's what it is. So, one of the people is John Graves Simcoe, the first lieutenant governor. Do you know
Oh,
that one?
no, I don't even know what a lieutenant governor does.
No,
Why would I know who the first is?
same. I literally will never know what they do. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I kind of thought I recognized this name, so I read the name Alexander Mackenzie. When you read that name, like what comes to mind?
British. I don't know.
I thought it was a prime minister. Apparently, it was an explorer. And then I kind of recognize this name, sort of like Prince Edward, the father of the future Queen Victoria.
Yeah, because of a whole province named after him.
Oh yeah, right, right, Prince Edward Island. Cool, cool.
Yeah.
And Thomas More, the Irish national poet. I didn't know that one.
Yeah. I don't either.
Okay, well, get ready for a bunch more history about things that there's no way that you knew happened. So, just FYI. So, in 1813, the Americans invaded like the Ontario, like the Niagara region. Did you know that was a thing that Americans tried to invade us?
Yes, because I knew that the capital was placed. Yeah, I don't know why I know this. I know that the capital is Ottawa, and although it's like a weird area, it was chosen and the parliament was built there because people were like, this is actually a really hard spot to get if the Americans invaded us. And when they did,
Oh,
they didn't get to it or something.
that makes sense. I want to point out how much of a pause you had before you said the capital of Canada. Anyway,
Yeah.
I would have had. I used to think it was Toronto. So, oh god. Okay, so a Canadian militia officer, Captain Colin Swayze, was supposed to join the British forces to push back against the enemies. Not wanting to miss his chance with the love of his life, Swayze decided to delay meeting up with the militia, and instead he hung out at the Old Angel Inn to wait for her. While he was inside, he could see the enemies drawing near. Panicked, Captain Swayze ran into the cellar in the basement. Down there, he realized there was no escape, but he did find some large wine barrels. So, with nowhere else to run, he hopped inside of one of the empty barrels. The Americans stormed inside. They went through the main floor. They went through the upstairs and they searched every inch. They were said to apparently have taken their bayonets, which I think is like a sword, and they would
It's
like
like a sword on the end of a
stab.
gun.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because I guess they were like stabbing the corners of rooms and like stabbing the walls. Like, if someone could like hide under like a board or something, no, they were gonna like just stab them.
Ugh.
So they went down into the basement, into the cellar, and they searched again every nook and cranny and stabbed everything. Still no signs of Colin Swayze. So they then realized he was probably in one of the barrels. So one by one, they stabbed each wine barrel and then they killed Captain Swayze.
Oh.
Sadly, he died before ever getting to see his love again. According to the tale, Swayze walks the halls of the inn at night, still waiting for her to this day. It's said that if the British flag is flying over the inn, sorry, start that again. It is said that if the British flag that flies over the inn is taken down, so like if they're cleaning or doing some
Mhm.
maintenance, Captain Swayze becomes particularly aggravated. But if the flag remains high over the pub, he's pretty harmless. Stories include objects being moved over 10 feet, doors opening on their own, and even whistling heard when no one was around. I saw
And
one
even like a
person.
barrel rolling around once in a while.
I mean, I don't know about that
I'm
specific,
kidding.
but very possible.
I'm
Oh
kidding.
my gosh. I actually did hear one story which was like very specific, where someone like in the male washroom was said that they were in a stall, and then they heard someone go into the stall beside them. And then when they went out and like washed their hands and all that stuff, the stall was like open and there wasn't anyone in there.
Ooh.
I thought that was quite creepy. Um, Apparently, the basement area is particularly active, paranormally speaking. It's twice now I've used the word paranormally, so it's a
Webster's
word.
Dictionary, please contact us.
At it. But that's the basements where I think the men's washroom is. But the reason I even chose to tell this story about Niagara at all was my mother-in-law, who's actually told me her own story. It wasn't her personally, but it was her brother that experienced it when he went to this inn himself. So I guess they stopped for like a lunch or a dinner, and they were sitting at the bar. And after he was served his beer, it was set down on the bar top, which was like totally level, like, as a bar top would be, set your drink,
Yeah.
set your meal. And the beer just went flying across the room and smashed to the floor. Like no one was around. There was no wind. It's not near the door. Like
Yeah,
just
like
flying
hurricane
off the table.
strength winds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So don't know if the flag wasn't like flying high that day, but Captain Swayze was not happy.
Wow.
Yeah, super creepy.
Wow,
It's
your
kind
in-laws
of
have the
cool.
best like paranormal stories.
What?
I said your in-laws have the best like
Oh,
paranormal like stories or experiences.
I know.
Mike's family.
Come
Come on, let me
on, help
know.
us out. No, I was like very surprised. I have a few leads from my mother-in-law that I plan
Woo-hoo.
on sharing with all of us. So, yes, the inn themselves, like the staff actually update on their website pretty regularly about any new ghost stories. And
Oh,
there's
that's
one that I
awesome.
thought it's so cool. Like they even have like links to certain YouTube channels of one guy that actually stayed the night in that really haunted room. I watched the whole thing. Like he had a few experiences, like some keys shaking and wobbling that weren't near like a radiator or something that would be moving. And then he had like a slightly crooked picture that wasn't crooked when he started. Like a few things, but
Ooh.
nothing monumental. But in 2020, they reported that Captain Swayze was caught on camera after closing. Yes, and you can look at our social. We're gonna post the photo of that camera image.
I'm gonna look at it right now.
Yeah. So the next morning, during the routine checkup and maintenance, they noticed that the motion sensor was set off the night prior. When the footage was reviewed, staff saw a familiar shape walking around the cottage late at night. So check out the image. I don't know if you're looking at it yet, Joe, but you can
Yes.
see it. The
At
ghostly
first I was
shape.
like, is this a skeleton? But now I'm like, oh my God, this is a guy in like
Yes.
military-ish outfit. Yeah.
And I love that they posted because so that photo is courtesy of the Old Angel Inn, and they put the oh my god, let me say it again. So the photo is courtesy of the Old Angel Inn, and they put side by side their image and the militia like uniform image, and I see it like clear as
Yeah.
day. Yeah,
That's crazy.
I thought it was so cool. So I like honestly, I want to stay there. I want to stay in that what was it called? The General's which one was the most haunted room? The general's quarters, I guess, is like the most haunted, and check out the basement. Like, I think we should go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down if we ever do a family trip to Ontario.
I mean, Niagara Falls could be cool, or like Lake
Yeah.
Region.
Yeah, I'd do it.
But where are we at time wise? Like, I feel like I did not make this long enough.
We are at 17 minutes.
I think it's too short.
No, because once you do the little outro and all that, it's going to be like 20 maybe.
Okay. Oh shoot, sorry. I thought I'd
It's
like
okay.
have more jibber jabber to do, but
I think the 20 min mark, like mid to low 20s, is good anyways for us.
okay. So there you have it, two tales of the paranormal and broken hearts in one of Canada's most iconic sites. Have you ever visited any of the Have you ever visited any of the haunted sites in Niagara? There's so many spots I left out of today's story, so write to us and let us know.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Beyond the Unknown. If you have a story you'd like to share, please email us at moody.mediaprod@gmail.com or reach out on our website or Instagram. We'll take DMs.
Oh yeah. All of our sources for this episode can be found on our website, beyondtheunknownpod.com. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review.
Until next time, listeners, stay curious and remember that the unknown is always just beyond the shadows.
Bye.
Bye.